executive board of UAW 2865, the union that represents academic workers across the University of California system. So let's make some noise for Ani.
Everybody, as we gather here today on this historic day of global action for Palestine, families in Gaza are terrified as their houses, their hospitals, their schools are being destroyed. The attack on Palestinian people has resulted in the death and the murder of nearly 10,000 people. Half of them are children. And as if the violence and the destruction wasn't enough, families are not being able to get water, to get food, to have electricity, to have access to life-saving medicines. All because of murderous siege on Gaza. And we, the working class people of the U.S., we're bearing witness to a cruel war. A very cruel war that is being waged against families, against children, against workers. We, workers of the United States, are raising our voices. Yes. We're taking to the streets. We're making our voices be heard because we're not going to be complicit in a massacre. And we workers are standing up because we know fighting against injustice is at the core of what we do as union workers and organized labor. We understand very well the life and death consequences of not fighting back, of not standing up for each other. We understand this because we know there is also a war being waged against us workers in the U.S. Yes, a country of great abundance. In California, the 8th largest economy of the world, workers cannot afford rent. No matter how many long hours we put in at work, healthcare, education, childcare, those things are still out of reach for the majority of us. And even after a lifetime's worth of work, a dignified retirement is still a luxury that only a few can afford. So we need to ask the obvious question: why are there billions ready for war, but only pennies for workers' needs? And we must ask this question because when we ask for funding, when we ask for money for a living wage, our government instead chooses to send money to fund the war crimes of Israel. When we ask for healthcare, our government instead sends money to bomb hospitals in Palestine. When we ask for shorter work days so we can have more time with our families, we're told that's impossible. We're told there is no money for that. Yes, but there is money. There is money for war. There is money to wipe entire families off of the face of earth. And we as workers are not going to ask anymore. We're here to demand. We're here to demand that our government stop spending billions on war and spends instead on what the working class of the U.S. needs. We need housing. We need healthcare. We need living wages. So the issues that we fight for in our unions, that we fight for in our community organizations, those things could be solved today. If instead of funding this war machine, we were funding people's needs. And so, what this should tell us organized labor can and must take a stand. That we must play a role in ending the violence and the destruction. Because we in our unions, we understand very well the power of collective action. The same way that we come together and we fight for better working conditions in our workplaces, we can and we must come together to demand justice in Palestine right now. Listen, just in the last few months, we saw Teamsters fight for UPS workers and win demands that once seemed impossible, but today they are a reality. Y'all have been looking at the news and you know of the countless victories, back-to-back victories. Unions here in California alone recently keep on winning. Healthcare workers at Kaiser Permanente, school teachers at UTLA. And right now, my UAW siblings at the Big Three, we're standing up against corporate greed, and we're raising the standards for the entire auto industry in North America. So if there's anyone can take on a fight like this, on a fight for freedom, on a fight against the capitalist war machine, it's us, union workers, union leaders. And you already heard it today, it's happening, y'all. Yesterday, here in Oakland, in the port. Yes, give it up. Everyone showed up yesterday. We heard from Belgian dock workers that they're refusing to transport any weapons by sea or by land or by air that are going to further destruction. Give it up, everybody. So to my fellow union leaders, it's time to act. And it's time to show that workers stand for peace and not for the war machine. I want to call today all organized labor in the U.S. to join on Thursday, November the 9th, for the shutdown for Palestine. It's time that all workers, that all union members, that all peace-loving people in the U.S., that we come together and that we fight and we win the demands that workers need and the demands that our government is refusing to do for us. We demand an immediate ceasefire. We demand an end to all aid going to Israel. And we demand to lift the siege of Gaza. So November 9, if a walkout is called for, we follow suit. We can refuse to move shipment that is only going to further violence, to further death, and to further destruction. And we can go to the streets and we will take on the streets over and over and over again. Not just on Thursday, but every single day. We have to keep the pressure up. It takes all of us to win, and we are going to win. Because there will be no business as usual until Palestine is free. The Palestine liberation movement requires us to fight back in so many different ways. And we know that through education, real education, we equipped our youth with knowledge and facts that help them fight back against this occupation. To fight
propaganda and the lies that have plagued this nation for so long and has allowed our movement to drag. So with that, I want to introduce our next speaker, Natalie Hritzi. She's a public school educator who currently serves as the Vice President of Substitutes for United Educators of San Francisco. Natalie is also an editor for Breaking the Chains magazine, working every day to give people real information about what's affecting their communities. So let's give it up for Natalie.
It is an honor to stand with you today and stand with the hundreds of thousands of people who are marching in Washington, D.C., across the country and across the world. I stand here today with the other executive officers of United Educators of San Francisco, with the Executive Vice President Frank Letta and his family, with our President Cassandra Curio, whose family is also here, and with our Vice President of Para-Educators, Tiana Tillery. And the first thing I want to do is salute our students, the thousands of students who walked out on October 17th. Your educators stand with you. We understand as educators that we must be accountable to teaching the real history. The real history of Palestine. The history of Deir Yassin and Al-Nakba and the hundreds of massacres that were necessary to set up the state of Israel. Because we all know that the state of Israel is a colonial state. The facts of history are that it is an apartheid state, and our students are leading the way to tell us that we must be in struggle against apartheid. I am very proud to be part of a union that has adopted two critical resolutions. One, in 2021, we supported boycott, divest, and sanction. And two, we also adopted a resolution rejecting anti-Semitism as a form of racism and hatred, because anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism. Because if you stand against racism, you must stand against what is happening to the Palestinian people. Our unions, educator unions, have been on the front line of social justice. We have fought for the rights of our black students to be treated equally in our schools. We have fought for equal education for all. We have fought for housing justice and community schools. And in this moment, as we watch children die in Palestine, we cannot be silent. If we call ourselves the educator unions a social justice movement, then this must be part of our movement. And we call on the labor movement, who has a tradition of fighting apartheid, has a tradition of fighting Latin American dictatorships, has a tradition of walking in the civil rights movement. The labor movement must come out for Palestine. Finally, it is not Joe Biden. We know that. It is not the Democrats or any of the politicians that are going to stop the bombing in Gaza. It is us. We will do this. We will stay in the streets today. We will come out Thursday. We will come out every single day and tell Palestine is free.
San Francisco. That wasn't loud enough. Good afternoon, San Francisco. Let's take a moment and remind ourselves of our collective history right here in the San Francisco Bay Area. San Francisco has stood on the front line against racism. San Francisco stood against war, the war on Iraq, the war on Afghanistan. San Francisco stood against the war on Vietnam. San Francisco stood with the people of Central America when this U.S. government created managers supporting Jews in Central America. San Francisco stood against apartheid South Africa. San Francisco always stands on the right side of history. Today, when I look here and see the thousands in front of me, it's people from every race, every class, every gender, every age, every community, every movement, united for a free Palestine. Our opposition are the white elites. Our opposition are the Islamophobes. Our opposition are the racists. Our opposition are the fascists. Our opposition are the ones who know that the people united will never be defeated. Our call is clear. Our demands are clear. San Francisco and every elected official from here to Washington, D.C. needs to condemn this genocide. They not only need to condemn this genocide, they need to take action to stop this genocide. They need to call an immediate ceasefire now.
Stand behind it.
Today, if those empowered did even the smallest thing to take action to stop it. Instead of echoing the calls for justice, instead of echoing the calls for freedom, instead of echoing the calls for peace, our elected officials, including the people that sit in this city hall right behind me, our elected officials, including those in Sacramento, our elected officials, including those in Washington, D.C. and across the United States, are standing with genocide. They are standing with war. They are standing against the ethnic cleansing of our Palestinian people. And by standing with genocide and standing against Palestine, you are standing against every movement for social justice. It is not enough that they are not taking action to stop this war. We need a medic in front of the answer banner, a medic immediately in front of the answer banner. Remind everybody we take care of ourselves. Please, a medic in front of the answer banner. Stage left. So it is not enough that our elected officials not only do nothing to stop this genocide, they fan the flames of Islamophobia and racism. As we speak, they are working to criminalize Palestinian solidarity. As we speak, they're making it so students on college campuses around the United States cannot stand up for justice and freedom for all. As we speak, our brothers, our sisters, our cousins, our aunties, our allies are getting fired. As we speak, they are being silenced. As we speak, people are being assaulted. And as we speak, we know that has resulted in direct violence like Wadia in Chicago. We say we will not allow you to support the Palestinian people, we will not allow you to continue this war one more day. Let today be a reminder to everybody as we have the largest Palestinian demonstration in United States history happening right now in Washington, D.C. Let it be a reminder to every person in power that they are not only standing on the wrong side of history, they are standing against the masses. And let it be a reminder that the masses are rising up. We have mobilized in the thousands. We have shut down federal buildings. We have sat in congressional offices, senators' offices. Like yesterday, Senator Padilla was met with 100 people shutting down his office. Our anti-Zionist Jewish allies have made it clear across the United States, all progressive Jews, all progressive people stand with Palestine today. And just yesterday we learned that right here in the San Francisco Bay, the port of Oakland was sending a military vessel to the state of Israel to carry out the ethnic cleansing of the people of Gaza. We know the history of the port of Oakland, where the AFL-CIO Local 10 has stood on the side of Palestine. In 2014 and in 2021, they decided we're not going to cross a community picket. We will not touch the Israeli Zim ship. And since 2014, the Israeli Zim ship has not been able to dock at the port of Oakland. And yesterday, as soon as we found out that this military vessel was headed to Israel, what did we do? We shut it down. The Seafarer Union on that ship was not only met with a community picket in the masses at 6 o'clock in the morning, they thought they could keep this ship a secret. They thought we wouldn't find out about it. But courageous workers who refused to work that ship made it known. We showed up at 6 in the morning. The ship tried to leave at 7:30. It was met with mass opposition to the point where we occupied that ship. Let it be known that the Bay Area occupied a military vessel headed to the state of Israel. These are the risks we are willing to take to make sure that we stand on the right side of history. For over 9 hours, that ship was delayed. It took mass opposition. It took 3 people getting arrested. It took the entire world watching until that ship was able to move. And let me announce right now that as we speak, that ship is headed to Tacoma, Washington. And as we speak, more importantly, our people are ready to resist it. The Bay Area is letting the world know. We will do everything in our power, just like the people who stood against apartheid South Africa, just like the people who stood against segregation in Jim Crow South, just like the people who demanded black liberation and freedom, just like all our brothers and sisters fighting for justice and freedom everywhere. We will do whatever it takes to make sure we stand on the right side of history. And when they come for any of us, any one of us, they come for us all. So let's continue to make sure that Congress hears our demands loud and clear. Let us continue to make sure if they don't, we do everything in our power to make them hear. And let us continue to take to the streets until Palestine is free. We know that in every movement, the people's power is what won. We know It's the people's power that makes change. We know none of us are just students of history. We are makers of history. So leave today knowing you are part of a global movement that is rising not just for Palestine, that is rising not just for workers around the world who are refusing to touch Israeli ships, that is rising not only for the people in Gaza, that is rising not only for all the Arabs, Muslims, Palestinians right here that you see in front of you. You are rising up for the future of a world where everybody can live in dignity, where everybody can be free. Because as Sharif said, it's not complicated. Gaza will be liberated.